Recently, I've been trying to expand my content and make videos about other interests I have besides how-to videos. Today, I'll be talking about the new comic, Spider-Man: The Shadow of the Green Goblin, with credits to DeMatteis, Maria, and Sotomayor. Hopefully I said those right. I probably butchered them. Sorry. There will be massive spoilers in this video for the book, so I definitely recommend picking it up before watching it, unless you don't care. It's about $18 for all 4 issues, so it's pretty reasonable. Also, if this video does well, I'll start making more comic book videos. This is a little different than usual, so yeah, let me know if you like it in the comments, but otherwise, let's just get into it. Before we get into the girth of the video, I'd like to announce something. I am now an iMovie YouTuber. That iMovie music library is just too fire not to use for YouTube background music. I mean, give it a listen. As you saw in the title, I believe this might just be the best Spider-Man comic miniseries ever. I mean, even the opening monologue hit hard. It reminded me of the first Sam Raimi Spider-Man movie, but a little story time quickly. When I was at the comic book store with one of my friends just a couple days ago, I was looking around trying to see if there was anything good to buy. And I stumbled upon this at the news section. I had heard about it from some of the comic book YouTubers that I watch, but I hadn't decided to pick it up yet. Once I found it and I started reading the comic, the opening monologue in the comic of issue 1, I just knew I had to buy it. I mean, as soon as I got home that night, I made this. You've probably heard the story, right? About the boy who lost both his parents at a tragically young age, and the aunt and uncle that stepped in to raise him. Perhaps they couldn't heal all of his wounds, wash away all the stains of grief, but they loved him with all their hearts, and he loved them in return. The boy was bright, but awkward, an oddball, an outcast. But then, along came a radioactive spider, and everything changed. He gained extraordinary abilities, with an extraordinary ego to match. Can you blame him? The media dubbed him the Amazing Spider-Man. The outcast had become a star, but the star dimmed quickly. When tragedy struck again, the boy's beloved uncle was murdered by a thug he should have stopped days earlier. And now that familiar grief was joined by a crushing guilt. He didn't feel amazing, he felt ashamed, and he vowed to do everything he could to make sure no one else's uncle would die on his watch, to use his powers carefully, responsibly, to be a hero. But what does a 15-year-old know about heroism? Only what he reads in books, seen in movies, or TV. In other words, nothing. My name is Peter Parker. The story I'm about to tell you took place a long time ago. Less than a month after my Uncle Ben's death. I've pieced it together from some of my own memories, first-hand accounts from some others involved, news reporters, and yes, unsubstantiated rumors. I thought it would be cooler than how it ended up, but regardless, it's still fire. After that opening monologue, the book introduces you to all of its main characters, including Spider-Man / Peter Parker, obviously, Aunt May, Proto-Goblin, Emily Osborn, Harry Osborn, Norman Osborn, Gwen Stacy, and Captain Stacy. Also, her mom. The story takes place at the beginning of Spider-Man's career, only a month after Uncle Ben dies. The text boxes implies that this is a recalling of the events from a much older, experienced Spider-Man. The main plot of the book is about Proto-Goblin trying to get turned back into a human and being used by Norman and Emily Osborn. The first issue mainly introduces all the key elements of the plot. The second issue also features Sandman, which I have to say, all the characters in this book are perfectly adapted, especially Sandman. I mean, when classically Spider-Man and Sandman are fighting because Sandman is like robbing a bank, and it's normal stuff. But what makes this so special is that how in the middle of a fight, they're just like, I'm kind of tired. Let's go take a 5-minute break. And then they just sit on a rooftop together and talk. It's just something you don't really see in movies or comics or anything. I mean, we got to kind of see that in like Spider-Man 3, which was pretty sick, honestly. And it's just a really sweet moment I was not expecting to see while reading it. It was honestly my favorite part of the miniseries, even though it's like somewhat unrelated to the main plot. I might just have to adapt it for a future film. The third issue is where the book really starts to move, but I'll just summarize it with the fourth issue. We learn about why Emily Osborn, who faked her death when Harry Osborn was just 1 to get away from Norman, is working with Proto Goblin to get Harry back. Gwen and Captain Stacy are at the hospital throughout the last 2 issues because Gwen's mom is dying of cancer. Throughout the book, we also get hints of Norman Osborn's humanity, but a big theme is whether or not he was always the Goblin or if it manifested when he took the serum. I believe that he was just always. The serum just let him be the Goblin, pretty much, and gave him all the extra power. His relationship with Harry and the way he only ever gives tough love really just shows like how his humanity is just like kind of almost gone, because he never really shows how he really cares for his son. We only get glimpses. Proto Goblin's main motivation is to get cured, but no one has a cure when the book ends. The entire time, Emily just leads him on to thinking that she can help him after he kills Norman, but she was just lying, and Norman also doesn't have anything for him. So he just kind of disappears, and we don't really know where he goes, but we know that he's hiding himself, or he's distancing himself as far as he can from the Osborns. Another really big part of the book is how Peter and Aunt May's relationship has been strained since Uncle Ben's death. Peter leaving to go be Spider-Man and coming back with bruises makes Aunt May break. By the end of the book, Aunt May and Peter come to an understanding. Gwen's mom dies, and Norman is still on top while Proto Goblin disappeared. But enough talking about the plot. It's time for me to say why it's better than books like Spider-Man Blue, Spider-Man Life Story, and Kraven's Last Hunt, which are all amazing, by the way. Like, I've read all of them at least twice at this point. They're better than some of the Spider-Man movies. I mean, that's like obvious because some of the Spider-Man movies are not that great. This is completely an opinion, but I think this book captures who Spider-Man is to me perfectly. And being the shy, nerdy kid who is still learning who he is and how to do the right thing, where the other books are more of a mature Spider-Man, like late 20s. This book captures the high school Ditko era perfectly. So, like, if you didn't decide to pick it up at this point, please do. I mean this genuinely. And I mean, like, obviously, it's not like Marvel's paying me to say this, because if they did, that would be, like, sick. But no, they're not. This book is just genuinely that good, where I would have spent double the money if I knew how good it was. Actually, I probably would have just read it online for free and just, like, saved it, because I don't have that kind of money to spend on comics. I'm not a CEO Spider-Man. I'm broke Spider-Man I'm like Ben Reilly, just live out in the dumpster. I don't really have much else to say, but thank you for watching. I'll see you guys in my next upload. Bye.